Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Keion Henderson. This is my lovely wife,
Shaunie Henderson.
and welcome to another episode of the Groow Zone. Now, this one is because you told us that last time we needed to continue the conversation, and we're in this together. So we're gonna kind of pick up where we left off. But before I even ask them anything, I got to ask you, how did you go this week?
How did I grow this week? That's tough. I think that I am growing more in organizing myself. This part of the year is a little difficult with us just coming off of, summer. School has started. We have a senior in the house with all these senior activities, along with life in our schedule. So I'm trying my best to be very intentional about organizing and prioritizing, because balance is kind of a myth when it comes to just life. But I think prioritizing is my growth.
Wow, that's some good growth.
Thank
Some
you,
good growth
sir.
because you have a lot
A
to do.
lot.
You got a lot to
do.
manage.
I
lot to
do.
manage.
It hit fast.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden it was in fast forward.
I like that. Life be lifing. That's
It really
don't stop life and
does.
do it.
Right.
What's the
I
opposite?
mean, I
Life
had
don't
the
be lifing no
don't
more.
be like right. You wanted to keep life.
Keep lifing.
I had the nerve to try to get sick. Like, I ain't got time for that.
The nerve.
The nerve of my
when I
body.
heard you coughed, I said, what kind of nerve is that?
What is that? You should have said, ma'am.
Ma'am, you did not have permission to get sick.
That's what you're supposed to say. And then I said, babe, you got to pray. You got a special connection to the Lord. So when you prayed, I was healed.
And people don't know, when we get sick in our house, my wife makes this concoction. I call it onion water.
It is what it is.
It's onions in it too, right?
It is. I boil onions, lemon, ginger. I add a little cayenne to the end result. But yeah, it's my concoction of healing.
And it works. It's the balm in Gilead.
Right.
For those of y'all who don't know what it means, don't even worry about it. Don't even look it up. It's just too much church in me. How did I grow this week? Very easy. Patience.
Wow.
Patience.
Yeah. That's like a weekly thing in this season for you.
Patience. Yeah. I was almost at the end of my rope. Sometimes I have to pull back and allow other people to help me make decisions, because if you make the right decision from the wrong place, it's the wrong decision. And so I've been learning to grow in that area and
ask for help.
Yeah, ask for help. Put people around you that you can trust their responses to your questions, and it's been good for me. So for me, not struggling in the area of patience, like actually growing in the area of patience, and kind of letting things unfold.
Right, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm able to practice patience more because of you.
Wow.
Because, and this probably won't come out right, but because I can be secure and confident that I know some decisions, I don't have to make all the decisions. So you're able to make at least half, if not more, of the decisions. So I can kind of sit back and be like, whew, I'm glad that wasn't on me.
No, I know what you mean. So yeah, it's not like you don't want to do nothing. It's not laziness.
Kinda.
I'll be trying to protect you, but if you want to just go and put yourself out there, I'll let you. But
sometimes, I will be honest, sometimes it is, I just don't want to do that.
Can I tell you what you did when we first met that reminds me of what you just said?
What?
When we first got married.
Oh, you said met. I was like, Lord, what I do?
I'm sorry, did I say met? When we first got married.
Yes.
And it was time to pay our first bill.
Okay.
I FaceTimed you and I said, babe, we haven't even talked about how we pay the bills. We were on FaceTime.
Right.
This is you on the phone. You literally went out of the phone and just put your finger in the camera. And I'm like, what are you doing? And you just kept pointing. You remember that?
Yeah.
And I said, what are you doing? You said, I'm pointing at who gonna pay the bills. I said, oh my God, this lady is hilarious.
Because then I know, like, I'm an auto pay person. You're not.
Auto pay. You gonna let them people take your money
Exactly.
automatically?
See, that's why you need to
Nah.
do it.
I ain't auto paying nothing. They gonna get it on the right date, but I'm gonna give it to them. You know why you don't auto pay? Because you can't un-auto pay. They gonna take it.
You can un-auto pay.
But you got to remember to un-auto pay. Is that a word?
Yeah. I mean, I know what you mean.
Basically, all your bills is a subscription. You just on a Netflix subscription with all your bills. They just gonna take it monthly whenever you feel like.
I am okay with that until I don't have to pay that bill anymore. So I said, what would be the smartest thing to do? Just hand it over to Keion.
Well, I don't auto pay, but everybody gets paid on time.
That's all that matters, babe.
Okay.
That's all that matters.
Well, let's get into this discussion today.
Let's.
Because we're gonna finish where we're gonna start where we finished.
Okay.
And I think last time we talked, you were just scolding me, talking about you can't have no extra people in your life. Or something you were saying like that. That's how I heard
don't
it.
scold
Maybe
you, babe.
it was like you can't have no extras in it, but I can do whatever I want. Is that what happened?
Wow.
That's
no,
not what
it is
happened.
not what happened.
You're right. That's not what happened. Tell me what happened.
I said that you don't need to get any new female friends.
You said
outside of me. If we're gonna have friends, they'll be collective friends, even if maybe a little closer one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all need to, be friends in some. Like,
I don't know what that meant.
That's
you start itching when you said that.
Maybe because I'm lying.
A whole welt just came
I think I'm lying.
So we're talking today about boundaries.
Yeah.
Talking about boundaries. And let me tell you, like, boundaries are easy to break. Like, they easy to break there. You can blurred lines and all that kind of stuff, right?
Boundaries are similar to rules, right? With that AKA rules.
Yeah. So do boundaries change as a result of the nature of the relationship? Or should people walk into a relationship with their boundaries and everybody just has to get in line with the boundaries that the person brings into the relationship?
I think they absolutely change once you get into relationships. Like, I think I came in with boundaries that are no longer there.
Let's talk about them.
Oh, God.
Let's discuss the boundaries you brought in.
Okay.
Tell the people the list you gave me.
It wasn't a list, babe.
A list starts with 2, at least, right? 1, 2.
One that no cheating. That one.
What else?
What was my other one? That's how the boundaries are just, I don't think I have them anymore. Not that they're not a thing.
That's just gone.
I think I came in with deal breakers. Like, if you do this, I'm out. I don't have that.
Is that fair to come into a relationship and put a person on a restriction for a crime that they did not commit?
No, it is not. Which I eventually learned it was not fair. But I initially did come in with those. Hands down, if you do this, I'm out of here.
So what do we say to people who are just like us, lifing? How you say life be lifing? You meet somebody, you fall in love, or, you fall in like, or you just taking it slow, whatever the case is. But I've been hurt so many times.
Right.
I've been through everything you can think of. And I walk in and I out the gate start telling people, I ain't going to do this and you can't do that. Like, let's start there because that's where most people are. And so, you just expressed that you are no longer there, but we got some time in now. So let's reverse it to where most people are sitting in that seat. What's our advice for people who are in that place right now where they like, I ain't doing this, I ain't doing that. I don't care what you got to say. And that's a deal breaker for me. And that's a no-go. What do we say? I
think it's fair to say respect the person's boundaries that comes and says, hey, these are things that I bring to the table that I just cannot, I don't have the capacity to handle. If this happens, I just do not have the tools, the capacity to handle this happening. Respect it. But I also think that it can be addressed and dealt with in the process.
What does respect look like in that regard?
For example, I think you respected the fact that I said, listen, if you cheat, I'm out. Mm-hmm. And you were like, okay, because you were confident in like, I'm not going to cheat. So that doesn't bother me. But that was my thing, right? That was my, and then we worked on it in a place of where you have made me feel so secure and knowing that you're not, that boundary of like, if he cheats, I'm out. It's not even a thought in my head anymore. It's like I came in with this wall though about
But see,
cheating.
in the beginning, it didn't feel like that.
It felt like what?
In the beginning when you said don't cheat, the first thing I thought of is what she's been through.
Whoa.
Well, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just telling you, for people who are watching, like when you come in and you tell somebody, if you do this to me, then this is going to be my reaction to it. The most common response out of a majority of people, and I don't speak for all people, but for the majority of the people, the first thing you think is, who hurt you? What have you been through where I have to follow a rule before I get your middle name? Before I know everything about you, I already can't do this, can't do that, can't do that. So should we come out of the gate with those things that we can and cannot take? Not you.
Just the people.
Should we be at our first date, at the table, at the restaurant, already given a list of do's and don'ts?
No, not on the first date. But I think if you see there's some potential there in the relationship, I think you should be honest. With the baggage you bring, if you know, I mean, you might not consider it baggage, but your rules, your boundaries, I think you should be honest with the person. That gives them time to either say, hey, I want to invest making this person feel comfortable, be confident and supported or help in that area of weakness. Or it might be like, yeah, this ain't for me.
What's the difference between baggage and boundaries?
That's a good question. I think they're very related.
Okay. You just made me think about it. I never, that's a good concept. I just want to know what you're thinking. I'm thinking about what my answer is to the question because I don't have one. But what's the difference between baggage?
I think baggage can be boundaries. And boundaries definitely can be baggage, for sure. Me coming in saying to you, if you cheat, I'm out, is my baggage that became my boundary.
Oof. Well, ain't this like a...
Yeah.
Pastor Henderson.
No.
Baggage became my boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, think about how powerful that statement is.
I think I just named one of your sermons.
Man. Appreciate you. Whole series, that's a book.
Right. It really is.
When baggage becomes boundaries. That means your boundaries stink.
Right.
And it means that people are not getting close to the boundaries because they respect them. They don't get close to the boundaries because they fear them.
Right.
Right. And anything that I'm afraid to get close to, it isn't that I won't cross it, because if I get enough courage, I'll cross it. I'm just not going there when I'm afraid. But the reason why baggage can't be a good substitute for boundaries is because when I no longer fear losing you, I'll cross it.
That's so good. That's so true too. Yeah, if I'm not fearing it anymore.
What are we talking about? If you leave, I can live. If you stay, we'll make it. The boundaries that I think that we should be talking about are healthy. I think that if you associate boundaries, it has to be with health. I think you've just really identified that if it's not healthy, it's baggage.
Right.
So if I got anything I bring into the relationship that's an unhealthy expectation that I have, it's baggage.
Boundaries are what's healthy.
Yeah, I think that that's something that we can really, really etch in stone. And
so give me an example. Give me an example of what you would consider a boundary.
Okay. A boundary is in our home. We don't use profanity when we are addressing one another. Or you can't call each other out each other's name.
Right.
That's a boundary. Baggage is, don't cuss me out because my daddy cussed me out. And if you cuss me out, it makes me remember. You see?
Yeah.
So the baggage takes me backwards. The boundaries push us forward.
Oh, I like it.
What do you think?
I like it because technically the baggage can make you develop healthy boundaries.
Explain what you mean.
Like the baggage of, the trauma of somebody being cussed out because their father,
Okay.
right? Maybe that same person could turn that trauma into the boundary that you said of like, we're not going to use profanity when addressing each other.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So now it becomes a boundary because it's something negatively happened, but caused us to create a more positive environment.
Right.
I can dig that.
That takes a lot of work.
That's work, but that's mature.
Mature.
And relationships are for the mature anyway.
As they should be.
Yeah, you can't do it right if you don't have some level of maturity inside of you.
Correct.
To do it right.
Correct.
So actually, in a way, if I look at it, boundaries are actually a way that facilitate growth, right? Because most people, when you see a boundary, it's like a line here in the sand. You don't cross it.
Right.
Also, you could be driving down the freeway. The little dotted white line in the middle, it's a boundary, but you can cross it. You don't hurt anybody. If you cross it, just make sure that nobody's in the space that you're trying to take. So you have to redevelop your thought process about what boundaries are. So that way, when we say the word boundaries, it's like, hey, this is healthy. Boundary. I don't put my hands on you. That's a boundary. You don't put your hands on me. Those are boundaries. Baggage is, I was abused, and I left because you look like you were going to hit me. Well, I didn't, but I got the result as if I did. Right. So baggage makes us leapfrog to the end conclusion, even if we don't go through the trauma or the circumstance or the situation. Right. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It's almost defining the fact that there can be a wrong way to present your boundaries as well. Like going into a relationship, there are mistakes you can make in present. Like I should not have presented my boundaries the way I did to you, because it was very black and white. Like, you do this is the result, period. There's no bending, no nothing. I think the communication of the why and the how, and then me later realizing that it's not about, it was me protecting myself from hurt that I have felt in the past and never wanting to feel that again, and feeling disrespected and feeling embarrassed and all those things that I didn't want to feel again. But I had to learn that I'm allowed to feel that way, and I'm allowed to still carry whatever that is that damaged me in that space, but presenting it to you, a person that is completely innocent of my baggage and my boundaries, and allowing you to receive it in a way that I should have explained, as opposed to just giving you what I would consider my rule.
You just made me think. I was reading a book by an author named Henry Cloud. The book is on trust. Mm-hmm. And he said in the book, most people don't disappoint you, and they're not doing it intentionally. What you have run into is their honest inability.
Makes total sense.
Like, you've run into their honest inability. So you're actually trying to get something out of somebody that they don't have to offer you. Just honest inability. I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm not trying to be dogmatic. I'm not trying to be inconsiderate, but I don't know how to honestly say I can't get there. So it's honest inability that you're dealing with, which is another way of us expressing our trauma. And so we create these boundaries, because there is one thing that all beings do, is they are psychologically, we come into every environment trying to figure out what is trying to hurt us.
Right.
Okay. And then our next natural instinct is to try to figure out how not to get hurt. Because the one thing that we don't want to say is, I didn't see that coming.
That is very true. Especially a second or third time.
There you go. So that becomes baggage, not boundaries. Because now you're not dealing with what you're actually feeling. You're just trying to keep from ever feeling it again. So now you've just put a cage around the beast. It still gets to bite everything inside of it, but it's not free to roam because it's no longer harmless. So what do you think, and this is, I think it's totally opinion, but what do you think some of the common mistakes are when people set boundaries?
I think it goes back to presentation. I think it goes back to knowing where the boundaries are coming from. Like, are they healthy boundaries? Are they boundaries that are just cut and dry rules? Like, what are the what's the backstory?
So presentation,
Yeah.
acknowledgement.
Maybe even ownership.
Ooh. Well, that's presentation, acknowledgement, ownership. So if I present right, acknowledge timely, and own my stuff, we should be able to have a conversation.
Yeah, that's truly growing, right? Because you coming in and just saying this is what it is without an adult conversation of acknowledging why and owning why, I think can definitely change the how you receive it, right? I can receive it with an explanation. It's something you said not too long ago, and you made a statement like women will sometimes, not all women, some women will follow a man a lot easier when they know where you're going, right? So you can set a boundary and give me an explanation why or a backstory of explain it to me and I understand it. Even if I don't agree, I can understand he has baggage from X, Y, and Z. That is nothing that I did, but it's something that he's dealing with. I love him enough. I'm invested enough in this relationship to work in that space. And eventually, hopefully we'll come out of this thing and that boundary will be gone. But I'm invested enough to get in this thing, both feet in and work with you in it. Is different when I know where it's coming from, when I know you're working on it or we're going somewhere with it. That's a different beast when you set up boundaries. You know what I mean? As opposed to just giving me, like I did, just giving you a blanket statement.
So what can a man do? Like it's like it's men watching right now that literally want you to come to their house and speak for them. Like seriously, there's one of the most powerful things about womanhood or manhood is when you can speak truth to power of the same sex to the opposite sex. When you as a woman can get behind the microphone and say, hey, we as women have a tendency to do this. And women, this is what we should do in order to help our men, or vice versa, me doing the same. Hey, brothers, you become even more powerful because now you have your audience and now you take some of ours. So what would you say to a man who's listening like, Miss Henderson, please help me. Shaunie, help me because I'm trying my best. Like, what is your advice to a man to help him to get a woman to follow him through those boundaries or, to walk beside him through that trauma? I hope I'm saying it right.
Yeah. I think the best thing you did for me that I would share with another man is a mission. Giving me a mission for where you saw our relationship going and the process through it. That was something I had never experienced in a relationship before. And I think was game changing for me because it made me not only did you give a mission per se, you allowed me to have input on that mission. We worked on that mission together, even though you came to the table with one, already in your head. It was like, hey babe, this is what I think, outside of us just loving each other and wanting the best for each other. This is what we're about as a couple. This is what I envision for us. This is what I see for us right now, tomorrow, next year, 5 years. And I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear how you want to contribute to what this vision is that I have for us. We talked about it. I then knew where we were going. I then can follow you in leading this mission now because I'm like, I know what the end result is. And not only did you present it, but because I know women are probably thinking, well, yeah, but so what? He presents this mission. Who's to say he's going to follow through? Who's to say he's going to? You showed me the process in real time that you meant what you said. You stuck by what you said. Life's going to life. Things are going to happen. That mission might have to alter here and there. But even when it does, you adjust with the communication. You adjust, like, babe, that didn't quite go the way this was supposed to go. you address it, we talk about it, we move on. So there's always a goal, there's always a mission. I'm able to follow you because you not only say it, but you do it. And I'm able to see you do it. So I say to that woman, like, yeah, you hear it at first and you're like, I don't know. Give it a second. Give him the time to prove himself that mission is something that he actually is trying to accomplish. You made an example of like, oh, if you know the man is going to play basketball with his boys every week, but the goal is to make a business deal to make $1 million by the end of the week. That's
Like,
easy to say,
Yeah.
like, yeah, right. He's going, because a woman will be like, you ain't going to play no basketball to make no money, but let him give him the space to show you, to prove himself that that's what he's trying to do. See the baby steps of getting there, because it's a process. But I now can let my guard down and know that I can follow you off that cliff and you're not going to let me fall.
So I heard, and I'm just trying to put it in language for the man who's listening, I heard communication.
Yeah.
I heard consistency. I heard commitment. Communication, consistency, commitment.
Yeah.
Do those 3 words ring in a woman's heart of like,
1000%.
Hey, let's bust through these boundaries? Because to me, it sounds like we can change the definition of boundary from meaning a negative thing, like, because the mission is a boundary. It's the guiding thing that's going to get there. So, we start by changing the definition that we have subconsciously of these words that are normally negative in connotation, and taking something positive out of it.
That's true, because boundaries it does come off negative, like, but it doesn't have, I don't think it has to be.
What did you do for me? Like, oh man. First of all, what you did for me is you made sure that you acquiesced to my world before you ramped up yours. Like, I literally saw you say, okay, I walked into this man's life. He has something going on. I literally saw you step away from what you had already started. Help me to jumpstart what I was doing. And now I'm watching you go back and pick up where you left off. Mm-hmm. And I thought, because I was watching it, and there's certain things that happen in a relationship that you don't always get a chance to talk about. I'm telling you, I observed it and I saw it and I thought it was admirable. That you thought that what I was doing was important enough to momentarily stop what you were doing to help me do what I was doing. And now having the freedom to go back and do what you were already doing. And that's a valuable point. I was thinking about the other day when you and I were in the mall somewhere and we were walking down some steps and it looked like the steps were getting ready to blend into the ground. And you may not have noticed it, but I noticed there was some yellow and black tape on it. Mm-hmm. That yellow and black tape was put there to make sure that the ground didn't blend in. It was a boundary. Like, it was an aha moment. It was a protective thing, because to cross that space wrong would have been hurt unintentionally.
Correct.
So while we look at boundaries as a negative word, like in their essence, it's like, hey, I'm trying to protect you from something. Like I'm trying to keep you. I know you're trying to avoid hurt, but the boundary is saying, I know a greater hurt that if we, subject ourselves to it, we can protect each other. Because see, baggage only protects me. Boundaries protect us.
That's good. Yeah.
So what do you think about, and I know I'm asking a lot of questions, but I'm just trying to grow, and you're my best source for it. What do you think about how sometimes trust can get in the way of what the spouse is trying to really do? Because you can misread what is being said. Give an example. I was, Ricky that works mm-hmm. with us on the production. Yes. So me and Ricky was in the church the other day, mm-hmm. and we were shooting a Take Action. And Ricky is dating somebody right now, mm-hmm. and she comes to everything Ricky comes to. Like, Ricky was at the funeral Saturday, she came. Right. We were at the West Campus, and she was there. I'm like, Ricky, man. No, I've seen Ricky date somebody before. Ricky kind of like to stay by herself. Yeah. So, Ricky, your girl been at all the locations. He said, man, I ain't used to that. He said, man, I go to church. I tried to tell her she don't got to go to the funeral. She said, I want to go. I told her, you don't have to go to the church. she said, I want to go. They remind me of you.
Right.
So I said to him, Ricky, I went to play golf the other day, and the guy started changing my swing. And he told me, he said, I'm getting ready to change your swing, and it's going to feel uncomfortable. Key indicator for you, you're going to know you're doing it wrong if you feel comfortable.
Yeah. Oh, so if you're comfortable, you're doing, yeah.
Because that's the way you've been doing it.
Yeah.
And how long have we done things wrong? Didn't get the results that we were looking for, but still trusted our swing, still trusted our process,
Right.
our way of reasoning. So I told him, I said, it feels uncomfortable because it's different. And at the age Ricky is right now, he better want to be with somebody who want to be where he is.
You trying to say Ricky a little old? He need to get it together.
Getting there.
Yeah,
When I
I'm
met
just saying.
Ricky had a belt and he had his loop on the last hole. You know,
Ooh.
when it wrapped back around and come this
Ooh.
way, Ricky was a 25 waist with a 62 belt. Ricky is a man in his
He a
middle
grown
30s.
man
He a
now.
grown man now. He ain't 18 working at the
Yeah.
valet.
Yeah.
His life changes.
Right.
And the boundaries or the lack thereof, whatever you want to, they change. Anybody who thinks that they're going to get a different result using the same method, clinical definition of insanity.
Right. We look for comfort for sure.
Comfort.
Yeah.
Seeking comfort.
Yeah. Being uncomfortable is scary.
Yeah.
It really is. But again, it's just, I mean, we go back to these boundaries.
Okay.
Because I think that having the boundaries in a lot of spaces in our lives is a great thing. You know what I mean? Like, as far as your mental health, your emotional, because I know another thing that I do is I had walls when it comes to even friendships, like relationships. I am the person that I think I've seen so much, experienced so much that I'm very, my walls are high for like friendships and allowing you to inside of these walls of intimate space. You know, I'm good with keeping my friends I've had for 20 something years are my people. And I'm okay with not letting another person inside that circle because of my protective boundaries. And I'm that person that if I see a little offness in your trust, never getting inside the circle. I don't know. And I remember talking to you about that. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. It's great for me.
Yeah.
But I think it limits me from establishing new friendships in this space in my life. But I don't necessarily want them either, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
I mean, I think you could look at it either way. I mean, you've had a successful life. You can make it to the finish line with what you have. So it's not about needing it to finish, but you do have to ask yourself, what experiences do I missed by being closed off? It's not that you're not going to get there. It's just that you'll probably miss some enjoyment along the way because everybody that's for you didn't meet when you were 16.
Right.
Everybody that's a part of your path didn't come into your life 15 years ago. There is somebody out there who will be a great complement to the woman you're becoming. And if you don't allow them in, it's not as if you're going to lose your life. You just have to ask yourself, what part of my life didn't I get by being open? But there should be high walls. There should be difficulty entering because being a public figure, you're exposed in a way that most people are not. So I don't harp on people who have walls without paying attention to their circumstances, because most people don't have to build your life the way they have to build their life. Right? So you built your life based on what you had gone through. Now, only thing you have to do is make sure that the boundaries don't become baggage. Right.
Right.
So is everybody no good? Can nobody get in? Maybe you should do some interviews. Maybe some good people will come along. Maybe.
You came along.
What I gained from this, man, it just this episode felt different. Did you feel it? It's like, I felt like I can't see the people, but I think they're like this. Right?
You envision the people.
I just envisioned them looking at, we talked about commitment. Tell me those three again. I forgot. Presentation, acknowledgement, ownership. Presentation, acknowledgement, ownership. So we've been talking about, presentation, acknowledgement, ownership, how I present it,
Yep.
how I acknowledge it, how I own it. It's hard to be mad at a person who acknowledges, presents,
Yep.
and owns it.
Yep. You take the win out
You just take all the wind
immediately.
out the sail.
What can I say when you are acknowledging and owning your baggage, your boundaries, whatever it is at that moment? I can't argue with that.
How many times you ever heard somebody say, just own it, man?
I say it all the time.
Oh, just own it.
Just own it. I think that's so important. When you own something, how can anybody dispute that? Yeah. Like I can't argue with you owning it. So I mean, and again, another thing that I think is a takeaway for today is just being men and women, because I think men look for this in women too, to be consistent. Mm-hmm. And I think you all need that just as much as we do. Mm-hmm. Communication, of course. You had another good C.
Commitment, communication, consistency.
Yes. You and your you like to
alliterations.
Do that.
It is the way my mind works. Everybody tell you in the office, they be like, every rule I got the same letter.
Every single time you come up with rules, you're going to pick a letter. It's going to be PPP.
PPP. AAAA.
Listen, it's going to have a letter. You hear me?
Literally just wrote a manual for the lead servants at the church with 5 W's.
What is that?
Don't know.
It is like
it's the way my brain is.
You're like, it's 3 M's, babe.
I can remember it.
Remember it, remind, and redundant.
I think this is a great place to wrap it up because you're about to fall off the rails.
Wrap it, wrinkles, wrong. Okay.
Babe, you got to finish this show because I'm done. Finish it up, babe.
We are so glad you joined us on this episode of The Groow Zone. We hope that you just heard something, learned something today to help you grow and have something to report, a testimony for next week in your growing week, because that's our goal every week, to do some type of growth. It might not work out perfect, but to grow at some point, some space in life, right?
Yeah.
So I'm Shaunie Henderson. It's my handsome hubby.
And I am happy, healthy Henderson.
See you next time.